Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday so far. I am Manny from Investors Trading. Today we present to you our weekly watch list for the week beginning on November 22nd. Just a quick disclaimer. This content is strictly for educational purposes only and is opinion-based. Nothing said or written shall be taken as investment advice. The company does not claim to be a registered financial advisor or brokerage. We are not responsible for the success or failure of your trading performance. Past performance may be seen throughout our server, but that does not guarantee future performance. Just wanted to let you know that we are partnered with Benzinga Pro, a great service. I really enjoy using their Squawk audio along with their fast breaking news, and I do use some of their scanners. Right now, they currently have a Black Friday sale going on, which is you either get 35% off the monthly essential package or you get 57% off their annual essential package. The sale began on the 20th of November. It ends on the 28th of November. Use code GRATEFUL35. Make sure to use our link that's going to be in our bio down below. In addition to being partnered with Benzinga Pro, we're also partnered up with Cheddarflow. They currently have a Black Friday sale going on, which is you either get 40% off for 4 months or you get 40% off the annual Pro plan. The sale does end at midnight, November 29th. Make sure to use code BF21 at checkout, and the link to Cheddarflow will be down below in our bio. Now, moving forward, I will be sharing my thoughts on the overall market. It is said that stocks perform well on Thanksgiving week, followed by Santa rally in December and New Year's gains. In my opinion, it's not really good to base the potential performance of the market due to historical price action. It is always best to focus on what happens day by day, because certain catalysts may come up that may have not came up in the previous years. That's something that I go by. I tend to trade day by day, and whenever I do swing, it's due to some news that gives me lots of confidence in my swing, or I swing spreads to limit the downside risk. Aside from that, we also have the debt ceiling deadline, which is on December 15th. If no decision is made, it will default. Now, if this is passed, it could be a nice rally to the upside. But if we do default, that may impact the price action on the overall stock market, which may show on SPY and tech. So if we do default, I'm going to be looking to play the downside. And as we all know, there was a lockdown in Austria. Reopening stocks got hit. Stocks like BA that's in the Dow didn't perform really well due to this news, as well as some other news they had for one of their airplanes. So pay attention to the reopening stocks, see if they can have a potential recovery. Market is closed on Thursday due to Thanksgiving, and it will be closing early on Friday, 10 a.m. PST. FOMC minutes are released on 11 a.m. PST on Wednesday. I'm going to be watching out for anything on that transcript that may mention rates. And for this upcoming week, this is my watch list. Pretty simple. I'm watching SPY due to the weekly doji. I'm watching PayPal because it has entered a weekly area of value. I'm watching PFE because the CDC endorsed COVID boosters for adults over 18, filed applications for emergency use authorization for its oral COVID-19 pill, and it got a $5.29 billion contract from the US government to supply investigational antiviral treatment. mRNA, Moderna, I'm watching it just in case PFE does start running. Moderna tends to run in bigger increments, so Moderna will be more of a sympathy play. OCGN is something I played in the past, but now it's back to that range in which it went sideways, which looks like a perfect fit for a put credit spread. So now I'm going to head over onto Thinkorswim and look at the technicals for each one of these stocks that are on my watch list. So we're here now on my watch list. So if you pay attention to SPY on the weekly chart, you can see that there's a doji, right? Lots of people will claim something like this is not considered to be a doji because it does have a really thin body, but focus on the concept. There's still some indecision here. You can see that there's some indecision between buyers and sellers. In my opinion, it's favoring the downside a bit, because if you pay attention to the daily, you can see that we're near this top trend line. Now, every time we've touched this top trend line, we tend to come down. And whenever we do push above the trend line, it's never enough. And we always retrace. Just how we saw on November 5th, we pushed above the trend line. We tried to hold for 3 days and we were unable to. Now we're trying to rally back above the trend line. But as you can see, there's not enough buying for us to stay above. So as of right now, I'm looking to play the downside unless it's shown otherwise intraday. So if we do get above 470.65, I will be looking to play more of the upside. However, if we fail to break above this and we're still below the trend line, there is possibility that we may see some downside. And up for a quick scalp, I'm not saying we're going to retrace a lot during the day, but the sentiment is not as bullish being below here, because around this area of value, it's been shown multiple times that it's a good area of value to play the short side. Now, PayPal, as we all know, earnings didn't help it much, gap down. But as we can see on the weekly chart, we're entering an area of value in which we consolidated in the past. Now, although the candles are pretty big bodied, it's still bearish. But now that we entered this zone, there may be some unfulfilled orders due to all this trading activity that happened in the past, which may be nice for a quick day trade. I'm not saying for a swing. It's too bearish for me personally to want to swing something like PayPal, but it is nice enough for me to look at it for a potential scalp to the upside for this upcoming week. As we all know, Pfizer, PFE, the news I said previously, and it being above this level is still bullish to me. We managed to close 3 days above 50.42, which was around previous highs. Now, if we manage to stay above 50.42, that gives me enough conviction with the news that I read earlier to hold and to swing, right? But if we break below and we close below for a day or two, that kind of invalidates my idea, which means I won't be looking to hold my position no more. But for right now, that's what I'm watching currently on PFE. Moderna, as you can see, it had sort of a rising wedge right here. And I did include this in the notes a while back. Now, this gap down did not have to do with anything in relation to the technical pattern that was forming, but it could give you an idea like, hey, based on rising wedge, when we are forming a rising wedge, we're looking to play the downside. So it could have gave you some conviction to play the downside, but obviously whatever happens during earnings is a whole different story. So as we can see, we saw around 2 gap downs and it finally found a bottom, and we were steadily raising from that bottom with a very steep trend line. And when that news came out for the CDC endorsing booster shots, Moderna ran in sympathy with Pfizer. Now, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. We do have this big gap. I'm not really looking at Moderna until we're above 278 or until we touch 246. Right now, I'd be buying kind of in the middle, which is not really an area of value, which is why it's not really as enticing in comparison to PFE. But if PFE does start running and Moderna shows some sympathy, I will be looking to play Moderna because, as you can tell, it runs in bigger increments in comparison to Pfizer. Now, the last stock on my watch list is OCGN. OCGN is a stock that I played a couple weeks back, and I think I loaded up on some spreads and some shares around the $9 to $10 area because I was playing some sort of approval that they were getting. On the day of approval, I sold nearly everything at the open because although it was a pretty bullish approval, it seemed to have been buy the rumor, sell the news, and we were unable to go higher. So this is a good example that even though you may think a stock may go higher because it gets really bullish news, it's not always the case. You always have to be aware of buy the rumor, sell the news. So I was able to lock in around 90% of my profit at the highs and the rest of the profit a bit lower. But still a profitable trade. Now, as you can tell, for a couple of months, we were in this range where we were pushing higher, but we were coming down and we weren't really pushing lower. So the buyers were kind of strong here. So both the buyers and the sellers were battling around this $6 area. But as you can see, the buyers clearly won. And this is a perfect example of a stock that I like to play put credit spreads. Because as we all know, if you're playing a put credit spread, you're looking for the stock to stay above the strike that you're selling. In this case, I'll be looking at a put credit spread a couple weeks out, selling the $6 put, and as long as we stay above that, the trade will be profitable. So that's pretty much it for my weekly watch list. If you guys care to join our Discord, it will be linked in the bio. That's where we kind of go more in detail, where we have a lot of people sharing multiple things. But it is all opinion based. It is all for educational purposes. Just because we post something does not mean it's going to be 100% accuracy. We're just sharing what we think, and we're just sharing what we're in. Whatever you decide to do with that, it's completely on you. This is kind of the rundown of what we look to be doing every week for anyone following us on our channel. And we look forward to have you in our Discord. So everything will be linked down below in our bio. Remember, we are affiliated with Benzinga Pro and Cheddarflow. Make sure to use the sign-up links. Benzinga Pro does give 2-week trial, and Cheddarflow is currently giving a 7-day trial. If you use the sign-up links along with promotional codes, you will be getting their Black Friday sale. And our Discord will be linked down below as well. Thank you guys for your time, and I hope you have an amazing trading week.